Lens choices, another super controversial topic. So I'll go through my approach and my rationale, and then you can send me the hate mail afterwards. Is that a deal? So personally, in a run and gun situation, flexibility is really important, so I like to be able to use a zoom lens. Also, because I might not have control over the lighting, I prefer that lens be fast in case it's very dark. I prefer wide to mid-level kind of zoom so that I've got to change lenses less often and I've got a decent field of view at all times. Now, being fast as well, we're talking sort of f2.8 or below. These are going to be quite pricey options. I do give more budget-friendly options in a separate video though if you want to check that out. So in this category of fast wide zooms, for me there are two clear options. Panasonic's 12-35 f2.8 being the first one. That lens is a relatively small size and weight for what it does. It also has inbuilt stabilization, so on the GH5 you'll get dual IS with it. And in case you use autofocus, using a native lens like this from Panasonic will probably give you the best results. Comes in at about £750 new in the UK and about $900 US. My choice though, because I don't really prioritize size and weight, is the Sigma 18-35 f1.8. I use a Canon mount version, attach that to a Metabone speed booster, and what that does is it converts it basically to a 12-35mm f1.2. It's big, heavy and expensive. The UK price is here and in the US it's about $800. Plus for the best quality and to make it f1.2 instead of f1.8 you need this Metabone speed booster, and this is another $650 in the US or £575 in the UK. I do offer cheaper alternatives than this in a later section, but to get that 1.2 best quality the Metabones wins. So here's an example of some of the footage you get with that pairing. Because it becomes a 1.2, that's a very fast lens, so it's good in low light and it helps you get this shallow depth of field. The speed booster also helps you get wider, so it becomes a 12-25 essentially, which is a 24-50 in full frame equivalents. Now the zoom range isn't quite as versatile as the Panasonic I talked about earlier, but don't forget the X telephoto mode, which takes it to basically a 12mm to a 35mm. It is a big old hefty unit is this lens, so you do need to check if you're going to try and put it on a gimbal that it'll actually work and it won't be too heavy. Obviously, depending on what kind of thing you're shooting, you might also want to add a longer lens to that setup. If you're shooting events or weddings from the back, for example, you might need the extra reach, even with X telephoto can't give you. Now the world's your oyster if you're looking for a longer lens, especially if you've got a focal reducer like the Metabone Speed Booster, which lets you fit Canon or other lenses to this system. If you want to stay on the native Micro Four Thirds mount, you've got good options like the Olympus 40-150mm f2.8 lens. Similarly, there's a Panasonic 35-100mm as an option. That'll give you decently sharp results and it's also weather sealed. It's going to be expensive and large though, and for me personally I like to go even faster than that. I don't really need to go as long as that because I don't shoot sports, wildlife or events from the back of the room. So I like fast primes like the Panasonic Leica 42.5mm 1.2. That's going to give me extra shallow depth of field and also better low light capabilities. Again, because this is such a fast lens at 1.2, it attacks two of the key weaknesses of the camera. That's the low light performance and the ability to get a shallow depth of field. If you're on a GH5 with it being a Panasonic lens, you'll get the dual IS, which is the added stabilization, and if you're on a GH5S, the stabilization it comes with will help your camera out a lot. Pairing this with a wider zoom, as I talked about earlier, will give you quite a good range, especially when you consider the fact that the X telephoto mode on the GH5 will extend this to basically a 60mm lens. And that's just in 4K HD, it'll go further of course. It's not cheap at £1,200 or $1,600 new, but I offer budget alternatives later. Olympus do a similar focal length of 45mm f1.2, which also comes highly rated.